Hey, this is Keith St. John from Montrose, Kingdom Come and Lynch Mob, and you are watching CMS TV.
It is Chris Akin Presents, and I, of course, am Chris Akin. And today on the show, we are taking it to the street. This is one of those street-level metal records that I just love. Not a ton of flash, not a lot of makeup, just bang, in-your-face, straight-up street metal. The band is called NYC. You can figure out what that means. The album is called Built to Destroy, and here to destroy right now is the guitarist, the vocalist, the main man himself of the band, Mr. Tommy Bolan. Tommy, how are you, sir?
Thanks for having me, buddy. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Dude, as I told you right before we started, I love this. I love these kind of just straight up real meat and potatoes street records. There's so few of them anymore, so why don't we start there, man? Talk a little bit about putting this band together and, your desire to just kind of be real.
Yeah, well, I just basically got fed up with everything. I guess, put it like a New Yorker on the street. And I made the album I wanted to hear, And I said it all came together. I had a lot of these song ideas, all that stuff. And then when Adrenalizing Media got behind the band, that gave me the bandwidth to do all this. And then I was already friends with Stet and Steve from Metal Church, and actually Warlock had recently toured a couple years ago with them together. So, my friendship with Stet started all over again, which was great. And, saw him again, and then got to meet Steve, and then saw them, and I called them the Rhythm Section from Hell, the NYC Rhythm Section. I said, this could be really good. So I started talking to them. I said, hey, I got this company in Germany and this, that. And then next thing you know, I got these guys on a jet, throw them in a hotel room. We did 3 days rehearsal, 2 days recording, and they bugged out like a MASH unit, and then I went back and produced the record and finished the lyrics and the singing and all that. And then it was just great. I was just, really just went in and just, put the pedal to the metal and hammered it, man. It was just, I had a vision of what I wanted to do, the album I wanted to hear. And I guess what really helps a lot is when you have the right people behind you or working with you, as opposed to like the weak link in the chain or the person going about, hey, let's talk Tuesday about last Wednesday's meeting we mentioned on Friday. What the fuck is that? What's that all about?
Right.
So I said, the hell with it. So then, Adrenalizing Media came full in, and I was able to do it. And then we had great people, Kenny Meredith engineering it, and Robert Vosgin mastering it. He's done Slayer and Black Sabbath and everybody. I'm dropping names everywhere. You need a room, but but that was my plan, because I'm very much meticulous. It's a business, but I made the album I wanted to hear. These are songs I wanted to do. Whether it be personal experiences, whatever. But yeah, that's the long answer to your short question.
No, that's fine. Well, tell me this, man. How important was it, as you were putting it together, to have the freedom to do just what you wanted to do?
Immense. Night and day, dude. Night and day, where I got to do is, I said, hey, let's bring out an acoustic here. There was nobody telling me I couldn't do anything, because so that was great. That freedom of that, being able to bring in as many of my PVMs I wanted, or Ovations or Schecters, or put them all on the studio. I'm dropping endorsement names right now, but so but that gave, and then with Adrenalizing Media and Marcus, the guy who owns it, who's now actually one of my best friends, to be absolutely honest, it was refreshing. I could sit there and go, but actually, even at one point, I had 17 songs for this record.
Okay.
At one point, we had to chisel it down, and you have to turn the ship into the wind and go, look, we got to start producing and finishing. Otherwise, I'll be making an opera and have a 3-album disc out in 3 years from now.
Right.
So that was a little bit, but I got tons more music, but these songs fell in together and developed the vibe and the way the album rides, and I just scoped it that way. I saw it, and it was great. Yeah, so it was very important to have that much freedom. It definitely allowed me to make the record that you're digging, which that's the result I wanted.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you this, Tommy. You're obviously a well-respected guitar player. You've been known for, as long as I've known your name, it's been for playing guitar. I just, as Midwest guy, I've never really heard of you leading a band before. Is that a comfortable place for you to be the leader as well as the guitar player?
Yeah. Like it just said in I just came out in Blabbermouth and said, lead, follow, and get the F out of the way. That's my mantra on that. But I've had a couple of versions of NYC before, but nothing got to the level of like this. And then I had gotten sidetracked, busy playing with Richie Ramone. I did his album. I came back playing with Doro and stuff. But yeah, as far as, getting off the track here, but as far as, I'm definitely comfortable being on the mic. I just go up there, work myself into a full lather. There's still plenty of guitar playing, and still a lot of teeth gritting, a lot of ugly faces made. All the basically crime you need. But yeah, I would say I'm comfortable on the stage. Period. If that's stuck up, I guess.
Right on, man. Well, Tommy, you guys are all veterans. All three of you have played in, big bands, obviously, and you've, a lot of times when that kind of a chemistry comes together for a new band, there's like posturing or positioning, where this guy wants to bring what he learned from Wasp or what he couldn't use from Wasp or from Metal Church. How do you combat that?
I tell you, the great part, there was no combating, and I'll tell you how that worked.
Okay.
First of all, there was already the level of respect. It was already friendship, then the level of respect for the musicians there. And basically, I had the songs and an idea. I had certain things written the way I wanted, but I came in and I knew what these guys brought to the table. I said, look, just be you. Plug it in and groove. And I mean, so there was no problem. There was nothing like, oh, you guys can't play that or don't do this. I was actually, hey, give me some of this, give me some of that. And, and they were all naturally already doing it, So they were already finishing my sentences in a lot of ways, and they were on the same page as me. They caught what I was trying to do. So when you're dealing with people at this level, and plus also the friendship and respect, they did a phenomenal job, Stet and Steve. And just, I said, just be you, go in there and sink your teeth into it, Now, and they obviously, since they're on the same page as me, it came out to exactly what I wanted. So it was perfect, So that's it. That's just a testimony to the whole situation. I got no time for any of that, what you were implying. Forget about it. Like I said, was that what's that movie? It's a Wonderful Life. Out the door you go. Can't have it. No, but these guys, Stet and Steve are great, and they're friends, and they killed it completely. So I was happy.
Right on. Did you ever consider trying to find a singer, or did you know this was your vehicle all the time?
This was always been my vehicle. I mean, my original idea for singing from years ago, from many, many years ago. I mean, I've worked with some really cool singers, when I had Freight Train Jane with James St. James, and of course Doro, and, Richie Ramone was cool and all that. And I just got, at one point I was looking for singers years ago, and I was just getting all this attitude and entourage and prima donna, and I'm like, are you kidding me? What? They show up and they're out of their mind, and I'm like, oh, forget this shit,
Right.
So at one point, I've always, I just started barking the mic myself, and then, and then, the results came out what I wanted, and I knew I could even be more, because to me, it's a release to be able to sing, play, write the songs, so it even dug deeper into the insides of me to release. So it's a great release. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, yeah. It was always the plan. I'd be the front man of MIC. There's no MIC is a 3-piece. There's no lead singer auditioning needed required. So that's my gig. If you like my voice, great. You don't, then go buy another record. Fuck it.
Right.
And
there's always
more power to you. It's fine. So I just hate those people like keyboard warriors. They gotta say something ridiculous. I mean, it just cracks me up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a guy that can't play guitar on Guitar Hero telling you that you're not playing well or whatever. It's like, shut up.
Like everyone. Anyone can like what you play, not like you play. It's all fine and well. I mean, I do this for me, and then obviously, I hope people dig it. And if someone doesn't, great. But when you go into it and you try saying callous things, or I hear a remark from a friend I've not heard from in years, put some ridiculous thing, a comment on, I go, what a stu-nod, what an idiot. Forget about it. You better heads in a glass of root beer. Fuck this guy,
Right on, man. Well, one of the things I do love about what the press says, now this is obviously in the press release, so I always take that for whatever it is. I love that they or you or somebody has classified lyrically this record as a sonic bullshit shitstorm. Just almost like you're looking out the window and just yelling at the clouds guy.
I'm the guy in the New York street corner screaming about everything. Yeah. That's it. I mean, pretty much I'll give you, people have asked me, what's the genre? What's this? And I go, now I'm an East Coast New Yorker. I got a lot of stories. I can sit here and drop buildings on people and tell you this guy did this guy did that. And I've heard every story. I've come so close to so many things, so many times to make you puke, But to me, people say, well, what inspires you? I said, well, it depends how fed up and disgusted I was at the time when I wrote the song. But people said, well, what genre is this? I go, you know what? This is rage metal.
Right.
This is rage metal. That people ask me, because it's real street, real, like you said, the meat and potatoes, the brick through the window, check this shit out, or, or fuck off and die, So it's real, it's exactly where I am at this moment, what I heard, what's influencing me. So, some people heard it and said, this sounds like rage. And I go, that's it. This is rage metal. Because I guess, and on stage, it's the same. It'll be even, times, forget about it. I mean, I'll be out of my mind. I'll bite the guitar in half probably. Who knows?
Sure.
So yeah, that's it's definitely, being the front man of the band. I bring the East Coast to it, and NYC. I mean, I've had that name, so it's just it's definitely a trip to the East Coast and a walk through Central Park at midnight. Good luck.
Hey, you. Why are you watching this with commercials? Go commercial-free and unlock exclusive content. Become a VIP today on Locals, Substack, or Rumble Premium. Stop waiting.
Well, and the funny thing is, whether you look at the band name or the album name, there's really no doubt what you're going to get before you ever put it on.
Yeah.
You don't hear it. You don't think, well, this might be a hair metal glam record. You certainly aren't thinking that. It is what it is.
It's not that way. This is straight from the gut. Throw it down, set fire to it, and see what happens.
Right. Definitely.
This is, dig in, man. Just dig in.
Sure. Well, how long, Tommy, have you had these songs that became Built to Destroy? Are they new, or are some of them old, or?
No, actually, a lot of them are very recent, within just a few years or even a few moments. To be honest, I mean, I made some of the stuff up on in the spot, like Gasoline. I created that song on the spot, and started doing the rip. Then I came to the studio. I said, "Hey, Kenny, I got this idea and had this stuff," and I had the lyrics written a while ago, to be honest. But then the music came together. Then once I started hearing it, I said. And Kenny, works with Vince DiCola. He did the soundtrack for Rocky IV, Transformers, Staying Alive. He came in and did this really cool icy piano. And I said, look, just dig in, another great asset and great guy, great friend, freaking legend. And he did this mad synthesizer solo. It's like something from Rainbow, just like badass and just like, whoa. And that took the whole song another direction. So that song was made on the spot. And, so a lot of the songs, pretty recent. Like, right before I went in, I started crafting them. And then some of them I literally molded, around after we recorded them. And you cut and chop them up a bit. But, some of them I had maybe a few years ago, but they weren't near the condition they were at. They were drum machine status or whatever, So, or I connected a bridge or a piece from that. The Built to Destroy was written very recent, and heavy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that the album has definitely turned as far as my mindset,
Okay.
I would say that's the best answer.
Sure. Well, let's dig into it a little bit, Tommy. I always try to start with what song is moving me the most, because it's always interesting to see how we jive here. This was super, super easy for me. Let's Roll 40 Brave by far stands way out front. Maybe it's because I'm one of those guys that watches every documentary on 9/11 and whatnot, and obviously you being a New Yorker, it's never not going to have extreme meaning to you. So why don't we start there, man? Tell me a little bit about that song and why you decided to write it.
Yeah, obviously you hit the nail on the head. That it's about 9/11 Flight 93, the one where the passengers took control of the flight. And the famous thing is known that the husband was saying goodbye to his wife on the phone. As he put the phone down before the 40 guys, they stormed the cockpit, they let's roll. Right. And that just packed. That's why, you hear the lyrics, son of a bitch, son of the devil, you got the numbers, make your move, enemy right in front of you. And I'm screaming, and, and freedom is yours. And once I celebrate their freedom, as much as it was complete catastrophe and tragedy, but at least they took it into their own hands and went the way they wanted. The battle cry is heard on high, it goes to that whole midsection. And then the lead is actually, something completely abstract I did, with some effects. I had overdrive and, some effects to madness. And just it signifies the battle going on. But yeah, that song means a lot to me in that regard. It's that's why it has such groove and tension to it.
Sure. How important is it for you? And I'll tell you. Let me backtrack a little before I ask the question. I could not have been more disappointed in us as a society on September 11th this year, when I didn't see hardly any tributes to it anymore. Nobody remembering, nobody respecting the fallen, the firefighters, anything like I think we should we still do for Pearl Harbor, but somehow we're not doing that for 9/11.
Yeah, that's a sad thing. I'm obviously, I'm of the mantra of never forget. I have cousins of mine who are firemen. I got friends of mine who are policemen. Actually my old bass player from high school, he's a sergeant in the 6th precinct. You know,
Wow.
he's like,
Okay.
so I got even if you go back in history, my cousin was police commissioner in New York back in like the 30s, you know? So yeah, so I think, you know, something of that should always be honored and remembered every year, to say the least, because it's like you said, it is a Pearl Harbor type moment, which is, you know, a solemn occasion. You know, I'm not saying, you know, break out the dancing hats and all that stuff, but definitely it should be acknowledged. I mean, it isn't as much remembrance as there used to be, I guess, to agree with you on that. So hopefully that will change, but you know, it's kind of hard nowadays. You never know, but yeah, I'm definitely something like that should never be forgotten, of course.
Amen. Let's talk about another song on it. Probably my second favorite one is "Highway to Nowhere." I really dig that. I love kind of the picking groove that you have in the playing on that one.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm happy to hear you like that one. That's pretty much about a story about L.A. I live in Los Angeles. You come for the dream, you live the nightmare. You know,
right?
That's exactly. I know. You know, you come here, you think, oh, it's gonna be great, and this, that, and you realize, wow, this town is the me, myself, and I club, and any place can be that way, of course. But if we're talking about my experiences, this is my story to tell. It's been a highway to nowhere for a lot of people I know, a lot of personal friends, and it tells that it talks in the figurative language of that on this razor I will ride, which is, you know, basically how much you put to the teeth to try to succeed, you know, and then highway to nowhere, and just look for salvation. You know, everyone's here trying to get justified or get their 15 minutes of fame or whatever. And some people, you know, they can try forever. You don't have the right people behind you. It's sad, you know. Then other people, you know, win the lottery, take them in, they walk in, they didn't pay no dues, no nothing, and then they squander it. It's even worse, you know. So it covers all that, you know. But I guess it's just about the sacrifices you make and the risks you take to go after your dream, or you know, and in a town as crazy as this, you know, in any industry, mind you, you know.
Right.
I got friends of mine who are actors and all this, and you know, the stories I hear, you know, I mean, it's amazing how, you know, more people ain't jumping out of windows. Shit,
yeah.
Crazy, you know. It's nuts. But yeah, so it envelops that, and has the groove, and the lyrics are a little more abstract, so it follows that vibe.
I hear you. Well, Tommy, I'm going to take a leap on this one, and if I'm wrong, just tell me I'm wrong, and we'll move on. But I read in the press that you're using UE5 for the visuals of the material.
Yeah. On the album, the videos, the Unreal Engine. We brought in Marcus, who owns the Journalizing Media. He's very big on like being involved with the video stuff. But we brought in Walter Schultz.
Okay.
He won the Oscar for that Martin Scorsese film Hugo. And VFX with he's like 3 Emmys. He worked on like Game of Thrones, Midway, a ton of stuff. So he brought in a lot of this Unreal Engine. I'm not going to claim I know everything about that, to be dead honest. But you know, that's why, you know, having a team in place who knows all this stuff.
Sure.
It created stuff in there that supposedly they were saying that hadn't been done before with Unreal Engine, certain blendings of stuff. And then, you know, then obviously the later video had some, you know, AI stuff in it, you know, digital stuff. No AI music, mind you.
Right.
You know, so and then they came out with some great results. Some people be getting a lot of great feedback on it, and they tapped into that Unreal Engine, and you know, they were able to do stuff which is, you know, pretty freaking cool.
Sure.
You know?
Does that, and here's my leap, does that indicate that you don't look at NYC or the individual songs as a band project as much as a transformative project that's going to find its way to movies, comics, Comic-Cons, TV shows, etc.?
I'll go you one better. I'm Global 360. I want NYC to go everywhere. Anyway, now, as long as I maintain the integrity of the band and the message and the commitment is the same, you know, this can be on the back of a cereal box. I mean, I want it everywhere. Wherever it can get noticed, so someone goes, you know what? I got to actually listen to that song for a second. Or I'm going to check that out. And it's funny you mentioned Comic-Con, because Journalizing Media has this whole movie franchise he's building called NR City. And the comic strip NR City, I don't know if you've seen this, we're drawn in the comic. And NYC, and actually that's in the video where you see the song Lion Eyes, where the comic comes alive. That's a comic page from it, and that premiered at Comic-Con in San Diego 2023.
Okay.
You know? And Marcus has, you know, a whole bunch of people. He's in, you know, you want to talk about Trey of Hollywood, just is nuts about everything, but he's got all this stuff in the works for this movie, and actually, you know, there's music of all this in the movie, all that stuff, you know, in the movie, all this madness, you know. So yeah, I'm for, you know, look, technology's changed. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you know, look at guitar equipment. You know, you can buy a pedal now that before you needed a rack of stuff to do. You know,
sure.
Oh, and even, you know, it's gotten much better and all that stuff. You know, but anything technology, I'm not against using it. I won't use AI to create music because I don't need to. But AI, as far as digital stuff, which now it's gotten out of hand where you don't even know what photos are real anymore and shit's real. But for me, if I'm creating a video, then I go, okay, well, this is my video, so I can use any technology I want. At the moment, whether it's complete animation or it's AI or UE3, UE5 and all that stuff, or just straight up video shoot. So I'm for using any medium that will get me into the further applications and reach, and just make something cool. If it looks cool, no matter what label you put on it, if it's cool, that's all that matters.
Right. Agree.
Your daily metal fix is on Rumble. Watch the Classic Metal Show episodes free or go commercial free with a premium subscription. Find your Classic Metal Show now at rumble.com/c/CMS, rumble.com/c/CMS.
Well, man, one thing that I know people that are hearing the music, I'm sure you're getting asked this about touring all the time. You guys are all obviously very busy with other stuff. Is there going to be the ability to tour?
Going to tour until we drop. I mean, as we speak, there's a big meeting tomorrow, an update about our European situation. We have some agencies there, and there's even somebody I'm talking to here in America. Stet and Steve are ready to rock and tour. They're just waiting for me to tell them what dates are available and all that stuff, because they do a couple of the projects here and there. Matter of fact, I'm playing with Doro in March in Hell's Heroes in Houston, that festival.
Awesome.
2 days ago. So I still jump up when it says Warlock. So, but NYC will absolutely hit the road. That's guaranteed. And Stet and Steve are ready to rock. And we have verified agents. We have people in certain territories. Just go, let me know when you want dates over here. Let me know. So with Marcus and the companies I work with in Europe, they already know who's waiting for us, and these people already have the ability to book the world anyway. So, and they love the album and all this stuff. So that's the most important thing. No one's like going, I gotta do this guy a favor. What? They go, no, this album's they're digging the album, like the energy you got towards, which I can't. That's the best reward. You'll hear about that from me, so to speak. So
right on.
Yeah. So to answer your question, this will be on the road come hell or high water.
Very good, man. Dude, one quick Doro question, just because she's like my favorite of anybody, man. She's, as you know, she's the nicest person maybe in this business. She's so sweet.
Oh, yeah.
For you, as somebody that's been there from the minute it took off, really, all we are and stuff, you were right there. You saw it. You felt it. To where we are today, I'll admit, I still think as much praise as she gets, she's still underappreciated. I think. What do you think, as somebody that watched her grow from a kid to the queen of metal? What do you think?
She paved the way and opened a lot of doors for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? There's no doubt about it. I mean, Triumph and Agony was, the album was really breaking through big, and it was getting a lot of attention back then. And then, when everything shifted around, it never really, regained the momentum. Obviously, she could, like I said, she could sing the phone book, and people line up around the block.
Right? Sure.
She's got that set in Europe. She's obviously the metal queen, no doubt about it, in America, worldwide, So, but yeah, obviously, I it would have been, if Triumph and Agony continued, who knows what the next couple of records might have been, if it had stayed on that course, because we had a great creative element, But yeah, she definitely, I think is due more recognition to agree with you on that. Sure, absolutely, because she opened the door for a lot of people, and a lot of people weren't singing metal like that, female fronted bands. It wasn't as much accepted as it is now. That was a lot of women are skating on the pond that she created.
Yeah. I mean, I'm old enough to remember it was her and Lee Aaron, and that was about it.
yeah. She did, a lot, and Doro was took off huge, and she chopped down, she cleared the forest.
Right.
People to come through, But so now like everyone's having a real smooth walk in the park. They don't realize the 90-foot trees that were everywhere, and you couldn't even get through, and wolves and tie each alive and shit. She took care of that. Yeah.
Right on, man. Definitely did. Well, dude, one last thing before we wrap it up. On this show, we always tell everybody, if you're gonna stream it, okay, go ahead, stream it, learn it, hear it, but buy something. Buy a shirt, buy a hat, buy a vinyl, buy an MP3, whatever it is that you can buy.
I appreciate that.
Where do we tell them to go to buy it?
nyctheband.com.
Okay.
That gives you all the links, all the Instagram links, everything there. We have a whole bunch of cool merch. You might have seen me even drinking out of this fine NYC coffee mug here. We got everything, hats, shirts. I mean, now we're doing the whole friggin' commercial here. Got the whole 9 yards, everything going on. My strings, look at that right there. Look at them.
There you
custom
go.
made strings by Optima. They've been making strings 105 years. They make Brian May's signature strings, Randy Bachman, and Frank Zappa. And now they make
And now Tommy Bolan.
Why not? And then we got, the custom guitar picks, NYC, the other one on that side.
Awesome.
And the Warlock pick.
There you go.
I have an agony on that side. All that good stuff. Everything at nyctheband.com. You'll find that. Maybe not the picks, to be honest. But yeah, that's all there. And then right now it's all digital, but we are getting the vinyl and the CD and special edition together right now. It's special vinyl things. And we're doing the booklet right now. It's like a 24-page booklet with a whole bunch of cool extras. So that's all literally, as we speak, being hammered together. I'm approving things, and me and Marcus are tearing it up and all that. So, but yeah, nyctheband.com. You can find a whole load of madness.
Absolutely. Well, this great stuff, man. And regardless of the merch, the thing you need to care about is the music.
Oh,
the band is NYC. The album is Built to Destroy. You definitely want to check it out. And Tommy, this has been fun. Thanks for joining me here on Chris Akin Presents.
Great time. Thanks, Chris.
This episode of the CMS Network is brought to you by our sponsor, Blackout Coffee. If you are a coffee lover, you will love when they are selling over at Blackout Coffee. Make sure you get yourself some. The only thing woke about this company is the drinker of the coffee, because it gives you quite a jolt. I am a personal fan of the Brutal Awakening Dark Roast, but everybody's a little bit different. Make sure you get what is your favorite today. Go to blackoutcoffee.com. Use the promo code CHRIA20 to save 20% on your first order. It's that simple. So one more time, blackoutcoffee.com. That is the link, or use the full link if you're going to shop around that is scrolling on the bottom, and get yourself some of the best coffee that is out there today. blackoutcoffee.com.